And now the 7 o'clock news. It still definitely sounds like a news thing, doesn't it, Andy?
It does definitely, yeah. That intro bit is very newsy.
Yes, it is. Welcome. This is Updating the Classics. Having to check my titles because I've got so many over the week.
So at least didn't join the wrong stream.
Yes. So while people are coming in, Andy, what's your latest? It's Henry Salt.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of the book now off the top of my head without opening the thing. But I'll bring it up anyway so we can see.
The animals' rights in relation to social progress or something.
That's the one, correct. Well done. But yeah, if I bring up my screen and then change it should be this one. That's your screen or my screen?
Don't know. Are you?
There we go. Yeah, this tab instead. That's right. Sorry, it's my fault. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll put the link to this in the chat. In fact, I'll do it now because it doesn't come from my other account, so I'll paste it from here. If anyone wants to go and have a read of this is available for free. I mean, this is fab. Considering this is 130 years old, the things that he's writing about, the things that he's talking about, the potential solutions that he offers, the ways that we can potentially counter some of the problems, which when we actually think about it are absolutely minuscule then compared to what they are now. We're still talking about exactly the same things. I mean, the things that he's talking about, sort of saying we've kind of gone as far in terms of legislation as we're probably going to go. We could make some amendments that are going to make it better, but we need to start talking at like abolition. This is 130 years ago. And yet we're still like, well, let's just carry on trying welfare for a bit longer. And it's really hit home, I suppose, just how long this has been going on, how obvious this has been to certain people for 100+ years. And that, even 50 years before the society was founded, so to speak, this was being talked about. This was being discussed. This was being spelled out really clearly. And we've done nothing. We've literally done nothing. It's quite sad, really. But yeah, I would highly recommend either listen to the narrations that I've put up or go and read this for yourself and compare, considering it's 130 years ago, bear that in mind the entire way through and just compare what he's saying to where we are now. Literally, some of the things he's saying are no different to speeches that I've heard in the last 6 months in terms of the echoes that are being cried out there. They're exactly the same things that we're still talking about because we haven't moved forward.
Well, that little snippet that you sent to me was interesting, wasn't it?
And there's quite a few really, really good bits in there, to be perfectly honest. I think I'll take a few screenshots of certain passages and stuff and just release them as like pictures so people can read. Because there's quite a few really, really good, concise sort of parts that, especially from a rights-based perspective, this is what I mean. This is 130 years ago, and he had it absolutely spot on. I mean, there's a couple of things that he says that have changed. Like he makes the point that he thinks it's okay to obtain, or it's able to obtain wool without causing any injury to the sheep. I mean, rights violations aside, I would still disagree with that. But we're also talking about a long time ago. So I would imagine the wool industry wasn't anything like what it is now. So this is it. I mean, everything that he's talking about is worse. It's way worse in terms of numbers, in terms of who it's happening to, in terms of the aspects it's covering around the world, everything. He's even talking about export and how bad it is and grim it is. Well, it's worse.
Yeah. So it's in the chat, people, and so that's it there. And this is, did you say it's a Google thing that they've scanned it or something?
Yeah. So there's about 5 or 6 of his works that have basically been recreated but saved by Google, I guess. And then it's on the Animal Rights Library, but essentially they've all been saved by Google if you read the little spiel that's offered. They haven't got all of his documents, but the best way to find it actually is go on Henry S. Salt. Sorry, don't get mistaken with the Egyptologist. He's got a list of all his work.
He's got a big archive, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. If you've got a link to, if it's blue, you can click it and read it online.
Yeah, here's a question. I don't know whether you'll be able to answer it or not. Do you get the impression that Tom Reagan read Henry Salt?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
You do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also, out of all the sort of pioneers, so to speak, I would also say that there's elements that I would say Leslie Cross read him too. Yeah. just because of the way that certain things are explained, especially the word freedom and how it sort of is explained and elaborated. Yeah, that's very eerily similar. Like I would definitely say there's some influences there. Yeah, but Reagan, absolutely. Yeah, I noticed Reagan quite a bit. In fact, there was some of the bits when I was reading it out, I could imagine Reagan saying it. So yeah,
and aren't there pages full of abuse and cruelty?
there are lots and lots. Abuse, not so much. Cruelty comes up lots and lots, but it's funny how it's still very often cruelty and exploitation, cruelty and other oppressions. So cruelty has a very much more significant meaning then than it seems to now. Yeah.
Well, obviously that's the vegan society thing, which put cruelty and exploitation together as well, wasn't it? So,
yeah. You see those. Yeah. I mean, he does mention cruelty a whole bunch. Yeah, he absolutely does. But quite often, it's in the context of cruelty being a much stronger word then than it is now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while you get the proper document up, then I'll tell people about this idea that we're updating the classics, and as we did last time. We've already done The Surge of Freedom by Leslie Cross. And so we decided to go back. This is 48, isn't it? 1948.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is Man and Nature. So we're going to update that. And so as we go through it, the idea is to make it kind of more readable for a modern audience. So we're going to take all the mans out and the it's out and this kind of stuff, and just kind of generally kind of update it without changing the meaning. But and we're gonna do that kind of, as it were, on the spot. So Andy, I guess the first job is the first word, isn't it? So what do you think? Humanity, is it?
I don't know if humanity works. I think humans might be better. But I don't know. Let's
okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think humans. Yeah. So if people want to kind of comment in because the last time I do know that we changed a couple of things after we changed a couple of things.
Yeah, and then there was obviously comments that came afterwards. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I think humans off the cuff sounds better than humanity. It just works better. Yeah.
So am I putting it in, or are you?
I'll change it if you want, and then if anyone else has any, is it going to change the? Oh, it's because I've broken the link. That's okay.
Okay, it's a different color.
Yeah, it's because this is still a link to Candid Hominid, you see, and I've just broken it by changing the first word.
Oh, okay. So the first little paragraph, that's okay, isn't it?
Were we putting stuff in bold that we changed? That's what we were doing, weren't we?
We were, yeah, that's right, yeah. So we could see what we were. That's right, yeah. It was we could see what we were doing, and people could see what we'd done, as it were. And as I said, this is the one where people are more than welcome to throw suggestions in, and if they're better than what we come up with, we'll change it on the spot. So the first paragraph's okay. So now we've got our first mans. So humanity's relationship, Andy?
Let us consider the second broad aspect of humanity's relationship with the world of animals, the aspect by which, and then obviously we'd have to look at the different one, but I think humanity works fine in this first bit.
Yeah. And another issue that we faced last time, if you remember, is Y apostrophe S you want.
Oh yeah.
Do we put other animals?
Humanities.
Yeah, the humanities as in academia.
History, geography, yeah.
Yeah. Do we put other animals? What did we do last time? Can you remember?
That's what I was in relationship with the world. I think we did put other animals, but it wasn't word. It's the word world, which is because you potentially would have to change the order of it, I suppose. Other animals of the world. With the world of other animals. I suppose it does work. Humanity's relationship with the world of other animals or other animals of the world.
I mean, presumably we're talking about non-human animals here, not everybody, right? And so, yeah, I think it's just other animals. Okay, and let's bold that out. And then this is aspect here, the aspect by which man affects himself. So the aspects by which we
affect ourselves.
The S off ourselves. Yeah. Or is it? Would it be ourselves?
Ourselves. Yeah. By which we affect us. Oh no, I think it would be self. I don't know.
Ourselves, yeah, because there's more than one of us.
Yeah, ourselves. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, of course.
But you'd have to set the S off affect as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We.
I
can't remember what their little thing was for strike through, so I'll have to go on. What was it on edit? No, view.
Yeah.
No, format.
Go to format, then text.
Yeah,
no,
that's
it.
Alt Shift and 5. Right, I remember that.
Right, ourselves.
What's right in the way of my keyboard again?
Groovy. Now we get a science lesson now, don't we? Now, it cannot be denied that when two elements, be they human, animal, vegetable, or mineral, have, well, there's interesting, human and animal separated out, be they human, animal, vegetable, or mineral.
I mean, personally, I would take out the human and just put an S on animals, but...
Well,
well, you actually don't need an S because it would still, obviously, it's still...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that famous TV show where people had to guess, and it was always called animal, vegetable, or mineral. And they always used to include humans in the animal one, which is interesting, really, because you get so much pushback. And yet there was a mainstream thing from the 60s, I think it was. You know, it's like a panel game, I believe, and they had to guess. I think it was like they had to ask a series of questions to guess what the object was.
Yeah.
And I think their first question was always, are you animal, vegetable, or mineral, I think. Okay. Inescapably mutual. That is, by virtue of the contact between them, each is affected. According to the nature and intensity of the contact, so is the nature and intensity of the effect. So there is no act which does not have some effect. And so this is cause and effect, really, isn't it? And there is no act involving two or more elements which does not affect each of them. What then is the effect upon man? So that's got to be, well, humanity or humans there, Andy?
Yeah. I was like, what then is the effect upon what then is the effect at humanity of nature? Our contact with our, I mean, that's, yeah, if we go to humanity, we're going to have to sort the next bit as well. But yeah, I think humanity sounds better than anything else. What then is the effect upon it?
So what, humanity here then, is it?
Humanity of the nature and intensity of our contact with our fellow. I'm going to have to change creatures as well. I hate that word so much.
Of the nature and intensity of our, yeah. So that's going to be our, is it?
What then is the effect upon humanity of the nature and intensity of, our contact with our...
No, I don't think we can say our fellow creatures. Although, I mean, it's interesting because he's actually got kind of like a possessive, hasn't he, there? His fellow creatures. But they don't belong to us, so...
No, I would prefer our contact with other animals, but that's quite a big change, I suppose.
Unless we put the, but that's a bit clunky. But what do you think, the fellow creatures?
That would work better. Yeah, there's no necessary ownership.
Or just our contact with fellow creatures without, just get rid of the his completely. Yeah, that would work, wouldn't it?
Is the effect upon humanity of the nature and intensity of our contact with fellow creatures? Yeah,
that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would work fine.
Okay, splendid. What are we saying in the chat? Nothing. Okay. Everybody seems to like what we're doing so far, Andy. That's good.
Well, that's good. Oh, too far.
Oh, we've got a cruel. We've got a cruel. It is, I submit this, that by the creation and continued employment of a code of behavior which is cruel, parasitical, and selfish, man maybe to kind of change it, but just humans. What do you think, humans here?
Humans, yeah, we just have to take the S off injures then.
Yeah. I've lost it.
Humans injure not only those upon whom we inflict our cruelties, our parasitical parasitism, and our selfishness, but we inflict restraints upon our own evolution. Yeah, that works fine.
Humans injure not only those upon whom we inflict, is it?
Yeah, we inflict our cruelties, our parasitical. Yeah.
We inflict our. Oops, I accidentally wrote oppression instead of cruelty. Never mind.
I would be in support of that change.
Our wow.
Yeah.
Was this the problematic one that you put? I don't think it was. There's another one in there. Is it full of its or something coming up?
It's not this one. Well, there are some a little bit further, but not that many. No. I think it's In Search of Veganism 1 and 2 that there's quite a few in there.
So this is a we here, is it?
Yes. Yeah. And it's not Why Plan Meal, but it's the one before that as well, where they're talking through the dairy process. That was the one I didn't enjoy reading.
So it's got to be another hour.
Yeah. Although it does label mother her as her, but yeah, babies are it.
Yeah, it's weird that, isn't it? Because there's a lot of she's and her, and then a lot of it's too.
Well, yeah. when I watched a video before, although there's nothing to do with veganism, it was just about language. That basically said that they are it. If you can make the assumption, obviously, that if the cow is giving birth and producing milk, that they're a mother cow, so she. But if you don't make the assumption on the baby, so they don't appropriate they or them, they use it. That's the actual English.
Oh, is that where you're being proper? Is it?
That's yeah. I mean, because I was really surprised because I even commented on the video and said, "Don't you think it's it's sort of objectionable?" And they said, "Well, yeah, but that's the way that the language is." It's like, well, yeah, let's change it. You know, if you had vets and teachers and all these other people referring to them and they rather than it, that would make a considerable change going forward in those that are learning.
Yeah.
And it's really subtle change in the dictionary, really.
So is this all going to be our and we again here, is it? We're not going to be putting humanity here.
Fasting ourselves as a parasite. As a parasite upon
by fasting ourselves, is it?
Yeah, ourselves. We create an anchor, as it were, at which the upward aspiring element. Yeah, that would work for me. By fastening ourselves as a parasite upon our fellow creatures, we create an anchor. What's it showing?
We create an anchor, as it were, at which the upward aspiring element of his our nature, is it?
Yeah. Our nature drags in pain to be free. We need to change a we here as well.
There's quite a lot in that one. So did we manage to get it? It'd be a good idea to read it out. Since you're going to be the one narrating it, I'll invite you.
That's fine. So what to do the whole thing? By fastening ourselves as a parasite upon our fellow creatures, we create an anchor, as it were, at which the upward aspiring element in our nature drags in vain to be free. That sounds better.
Yeah, it seems right, doesn't it? In specialized instances, of which the slaughterer is one example, No, then.
He inflicts upon his element not merely an inhibition. He drags it down in chains.
So they talk about the slaughterer.
They?
Yeah, but then you'd have to have the slaughterers, wouldn't you? And then you'd have to have are instead of is.
That's true.
They drag it down in chains. Yeah, it'll have to be that, though, wouldn't it? Because we can't put we there because they're talking about slaughter.
Yeah, they're talking about the slaughterer. Yeah, so it is somewhat specific.
So slaughterers are one example. Would that work then?
Yeah, slaughterers are one example. They inflict upon the element not merely an inhibition. They drag it down in chains. Yeah, that would work.
What's that, Rouge? So the slaughterers, we put that in then. Let's see. Yes, and that's got to be R then, isn't it?
One example, yeah.
In specialized instances of which the slaughterers are one example, they inflict upon this element not merely an inhibition. They drag it down.
There you go.
Yeah. It's a bit clunky, but I think it probably was a bit clunky, even the original, wasn't it? So it has been said by witnesses in that the shambles of Chicago, that's the slaughterhouse, it is difficult to believe that the men whose daily task is perpetual. Now that's interesting because it will have been exclusively men working there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole thing. The whole of this example really isn't inaccurate in the sense of him explaining it. It's not kind of. I mean, but we've still got to change it potentially. But yeah, I mean, he could well have had someone in mind when writing about this, and it would be absolutely fine in that regard. And you're right. I mean, especially at this time, there would have been almost all men.
Should we just put workers, operatives, or
I believe that the workers? Yeah, workers would work fine. Whose daily work? Operators might, because you've got the work, or you could, unless you change men to workers and then work to job.
So workers here, is it?
Yeah, that would work fine if you did that. Workers whose daily job is perpetual killing have the spark of humanity left within them.
It's ironic he's brought humanity in there.
Yeah.
But he's using humanity in the way that Salt uses humanity. It's kind of like a very good quality, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, Salt kind of aspires that humanity is what we should seek to demonstrate. Same as I suppose it's like civilization is something we've never had. Yeah, kind of.
It's not like a description, is it? It's no. It's a bit more than that.
It's kind of an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just that workers change. That's it, then, is it?
I believe that the workers whose daily work, would that still work, or is there too many? Is there two workers?
Oh, I see.
Workers whose daily job, daily task, is perpetual killing have the spark of humanity left within them.
Well, how about is there a better word than workers then? And so we're not changing. I mean, operatives is a bit.
It is difficult to believe that. What about if you change?
How about the people? The people,
or those whose daily work is perpetual killing. Believe that those. So you're taking out the man or the workers and just changing it to those. So you got those who.
I think that'll be it, wouldn't it? Yeah,
have the spark of humanity left within them. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. Okay.
If that is an extreme example, it is nevertheless a symbol of the depths to which man may sink as a result of fundamentally immoral behavior. That would be humanity. That's fine. Or humans.
I think humanity. But do you think humans fits there?
If there is an extreme to the death switch, no, I think humanity is the right one.
Although he's got that just here too.
Although he's using humanity in a different way, yeah. So,
I know, yeah.
So
maybe it would be more relevant to what he means by putting humans then, or human beings or something. In which,
well, hang on. If we're going to say those, we could say to which they may sink, as it's still within the specific example of the slaughterers. Of the depths to which they may sink as a result of fundamentally immoral behavior.
No, I think when he comes to humanity here, he's talking more widely than slaughterers at that point.
To which we all may.
Yeah. So so we could have humans or human beings.
Yeah. I suppose human beings, or I suppose either work, doesn't it?
Humans, yeah, I suppose that sounds better in narration, wouldn't it? Human beings.
A symbol of the depths of which human beings may sink as a result of fundamentally immoral behavior. That works fine.
Yeah. Okay. Groovy.
Right. In order to keep our thoughts largely
upon... we had that suggestion of people. I think that
to depths to which people may... I think maybe people would work, and it's a single word then.
I think people might have been those whose daily work, it might be there that I think the people might have been there. The people, I think. I'm not sure.
Believe that people whose daily work is, but yeah, that works fine as well.
Have you got a preference?
Not really.
Okay, well, since that's the first suggestion from
I mean, it doesn't change anything about. So no, put people in instead.
So the there was there already, right? And so we just
there was the man.
So we can debold that one. Is debold a word?
I think it's unbold. I'm not sure though.
Is it? Isn't it boldly go?
I don't actually know.
It's go boldly.
In order to keep our thoughts largely upon the transcendental aspect of the relationship, I do not want to divert much attention to those physical results which, though of relative importance, are in fact incidental. Nothing to change there, is there? But it does not need to be stated that if one accepts that there is an order in the universe, it follows that ethical error cannot be scientific veracity. A number of diseases and ailments are no doubt traceable to ethical error in that they are brought about or intensified by the consumption of foods which have an immoral basis in their production, involves cruelty or violent death. Can we not switch them around? Or both. The coarse and heavy protein taken into the human body in the form of animal flesh and animal milk is a source of trouble, and it is significant that the incidence of cancer is highest in those parts of the earth where most animal milk is drunk.
Oh, he's advertising again.
He drops, honestly, now that you think about it, I think he drops Plamil in about 8 of the 10. Can't blame him though, you know. And there's a couple of
early product placement, isn't it?
Because there's one that I narrated that's not on Candid Hominid called Veganism Defended. It's only a short one. He mentions Plamil in that one, and he mentions the fact that, you know, this is something we can all do. And even before Plamil has originated, he's talking about having the idea for a plant-based milk. So yeah, absolutely, it was something that was always whirring in his mind. Definitely. Milk-borne diseases are recognized even by those who take no account of the inevitable cruelties involved in dairying. I suppose we haven't really got justification for changing that, have we?
No, not really. As much
many intermediate ailments may ultimately be traced, at least in part, to the use of immoral foods. Nothing wrong with
Interesting idea, isn't it? Immoral foods.
Moral foods, I like that. Yeah, it's good. There are, in addition, influences more subtle and less obvious than protein of the wrong kind. As the result of the terror which suffices any animals in the moment of death, the ductless glands pour secretions into the blood. These glands are in some ways the link between the physical...
Cyclical.
I was going to say, I normally get them the wrong way round. Psychical and physical nature. I think I did get it the wrong way round the first time that I narrated this. Psychical and physical nature of all animals, including humans,
Humans, yeah, I think so, yeah. I'd be inclined to put including human animals.
Nature of all animals. That would work absolutely fine, and it would stay with the theme.
Yeah, but I don't suppose it's needed. So the least we do, the better, isn't it? Really?
Yes. Yeah. I suppose it's the extra word bit. Yeah. But no, I've noticed when I'm doing the narration, sometimes my brain will finish the sentence without actually reading.
Including human ones would be good.
Yeah, human ones. I like that. For though their activation is primarily psychical, their effect is physical. That's the one I got messed up last time. It's the second time he mentions it, not the first. The secretions aroused by terror cannot fail to affect adversely for him, the flesh which man ultimately consumes. Right, so we ultimately consume, or humans ultimately consume?
Well, we've got him here as well. Which adversely
for us. I suppose it depends what we change the him to. Yeah.
Is it us and we there then? Would that work?
I think us and we would work fine. Yeah, if we've got to change both, so they've got to be consistent. So yeah, us and we, I think, would work fine. And the flesh which we ultimately consume. Yeah, and I'll take the S off.
I know. We've got a very unhappy cat today. Come on, Ridge.
Well, we're getting through this one, Ridge, quicker than the last one anyway, so...
Come on.
There are also further subtle influences only now beginning to be seriously studied. The non-physical or vibrational properties of food. While at the moment it would be unwise to base one's arguments largely upon these studies, it is probably not irrelevant to connect the modern habit of pumping animal milk into school children with a revelation by more than one educational authority or
is advertising again.
Noticeable increase in mental dullness. Certainly, it is not irrelevant to set against this the clear evidence that one of the characteristics of vegan children who do not, I'm surprised he didn't name his, because that's normally what would go there, yeah. Who do not take animal milk in any form is outstanding mental alertness.
I'm surprised you didn't say who do not take who do take Plamil,
my kids who have been, on Plamil doing absolutely great, they're strong and healthy, and everyone always compliments how vibrant they look and how fresh
7-6 from all good shops.
It is really good when you think about it. It's clever. In the sphere of fundamental principle, we have to consider the violence which is inevitable in the existing relationship. If violence, with its culminating peak in war, is undesirable, it is so because it's the principle withholding humanity from the attainment of higher... Yeah, I think humanity. Or humans, but I think humanity. Withholding humanity.
Interesting that it mentions war there.
Oh, actually, what about us?
Withholding... us there? You mean there?
I don't know. What do people think? Is this a principle withholding us, humanity, humans? I like us.
Yeah. It kind of distances it if it was humanity, and it kind of
us is very makes
it, if it using us language, yeah.
Yeah.
Joanna, she's okay actually. She's just been having a bit of a turn at the moment. I might have to disappear and see if she wants any food, but she's had loads already.
I think us. Has anyone said anything any different?
No, nobody said anything at all.
We can always come back if they do.
Speak to me. And then, so the next one is men, isn't it?
Violence between men is undesirable.
That really should be amongst men, shouldn't it? Not between.
Yeah, really. Amongst would work better.
So if violence, what, among humanity then, you think?
Yeah, that because we've already got the us on the sentence above. So yeah, I think humanity would work just fine.
But do we want to do the among bit, or should we leave it between?
I suppose it's one of those. I mean, I would agree with you completely. It's just a case of have we got sort of remit to change it? I mean, it does make more sense, and it probably should have been that all along. So I would agree with it.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm just gonna see if I can calm the cat down. I want me a second.
That's fine. If violence among humanity is undesirable, how much less desirable is violence done by men to utterly helpless creatures? We have to, I suppose we have to, for consistency's sake, that has to be humanity. Getting checked when it comes. We've already included it and it's within the same sentence. Hate the word creatures. I wish that was one I could change. But there's not got the sort of justification to change it. See what chat's saying. Among humans. I would be fine with that as well. That makes just as much sense. If violence among humans is undesirable, I suppose we make both humans then in that case. How much less desirable is violence done by humans to utterly helpless creatures? Or keep the second humanity?
Oh, talking to yourself.
Yeah, so potentially, are we keeping both of these as humanity? Because obviously that's the first one we changed. Or would one of them be humans?
All right. If violence among humanity, well, that top one to be humans then, yeah?
Yeah, I think that would make sense. And then the second one be humanity, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's have that as human, yeah.
If violence among humans is undesirable, how much less desirable is violence done by humanity? Yeah. We don't have justification for changing creatures, sadly, but I would.
That's kind of what Salt says, right?
Yeah. More or less exactly the same. Yeah, like I said, there's quite a few sort of things that I've noticed from reading that you can see, you think, oh yeah, I've heard this before, or an extension of it, or an evolution of it. Yeah, and I noticed quite a few within Reagan's work. Again, the cheapness of human life cannot in complete analysis be separated from the cheapness of animal life. Should we put other there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble concentrating here. Cheapness of
human life cannot in a complete analysis be separated from the cheapness of animal life.
Unless you put non-human animal life, cheapness of because otherwise it'd have to be other animals, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
And it'd have to be lives as well. So
yeah. I suppose non-human would work.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've changed it once above. I mean, we could just leave that one maybe.
And again, the cheapness of human life cannot. Yeah, I suppose it doesn't. It's not actually separating them in the way that it is. It's just.
Well, he's done that anyway. He's put humans, animals, vegetables, and minerals. So
yeah. When we kind of okay, we can potentially leave that one then. The only sin, said Emerson, is limitation. We err, and we err greatly, when we limit the application of abiding principles to one section of the world's inhabitants. Animals share with us the habitation of this globe, and they are as entitled as we to the benefits of a natural and developmental evolution.
No, that for me, right? Yes, just to put in that's really interesting, because I think that might be the first time when he talks about kind of principles and stuff like that, abiding principles, and that became a really, really major theme for him, didn't it?
Yeah.
And so almost like the principles is always a little bit kind of aligned with Watson's idea of the searchlight, on the boat and stuff, and so. Yeah, the principles of veganism can be applied.
Well, I mean, again, even to sort of reference him again, even in Salt's work, he literally says, I mean, I'm probably getting the quote slightly wrong, but it's something along the lines of, I'm not telling you not to campaign against these individual things. I'm telling you to campaign against them as stepping stones, not as the end result. essentially to use them as what was the way he described it, as an enemy stronghold that you've taken over. It's not the end of the war. It's a position that you can use to say, we'll give you this back if you give us this, 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 and this, but we're not moving from here.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah, even 130 years ago, Salt had worked out that welfareism could only go so far, and he more or less alluded to the fact that it had probably already taken it as far as it could go.
Yeah, and of course, it ended up being that famous phrase that David Icke used in the debate. It's not this bloodshed or that bloodshed. That one, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Where did we get to? We got inhabitants.
We who I think we're at.
We who might learn. Yeah, we who might learn much from them, and who might, with love and aid them in their evolution, offer them not love, not even tolerance, but a philosophy which is exemplified by the steel of the slaughterer's knife and the bit in the horse's mouth.
Now that's interesting as well. That he uses that example.
He uses the bit in the horse's mouth quite a few times in exactly that same way. Yeah.
All right, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if he had something about that then, but I don't think he ever mentioned it in any, because like when he runs through the things about the obvious changes and the not so obvious changes, in the obvious changes it didn't say there would be no more racing of horses.
No.
That's interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he mentions it briefly in I think 3 essays about the bit in the mouth. It's kind of. I mean, there must be something there on a personal level, maybe like a childhood memory or something that he. It's funny that he mentions it in that specific way a couple of times. Anyway.
Yeah. What do you make of this? All this love talk. This is like the worst thing about Cross for me, really.
To be fair, I noticed it a lot when, especially like going through the issues of the vegan and just narrating little bits and sections. Yeah, love is predominantly a feature, but I also think that love meant something then as opposed to now. And I mean, it's kind of lost so much meaning as a word. People say love.
Like what could it mean then?
I mean, I don't think then that people used to throw love about like it's used now, not just in like a relationship, human to human sense, but even in just the way that people love TV programs or foods or any. I mean, even for example, take footballers, right? Like you'd have had the loyalty and the love for a club. Now it's who's going to pay me the most money. You'll kiss the badge one week and sign for someone else the next. That wouldn't have happened in 1940. Like, there just wasn't that. People were bothered about things like, say, for example, what other people thought of them, how others might react. No one cares about any of that sort of stuff anymore. You can literally say one thing to one person, say another the next day, and no one will care. No one will hold you to account for it.
Yeah, maybe you're onto something. Could be, couldn't it? Yeah.
And I think the same with cruelty. As much as I don't like that word, and I've made that very clear over numerous shows, but I genuinely think when they're talking about the word cruelty, it didn't mean what it's been sort of diluted to mean now. It wasn't. It genuinely meant we're not having this. It really was an abolitionist position. I do genuinely think that, because the amount of times that Salt uses it as a crux and then literally goes into detail to explain all of the things that he's against, but they've come under the banner of cruelty, but yet he's listed the rights violations and he's explained why, but he's still kept it under the banner of cruelty.
Yeah. We hear you on that. I mean, we wouldn't dream of doing it. It's just that I don't like it. That's all.
It's that. Yeah. I honestly believe that when he's talking about love and he's talking about these things, like we've almost lost what the definition of that is, personally.
Yeah, but apart from you, who's going to think of that when they're reading it? That word
to be perfect. But then again, at the same time, if all this research and everything is all true, everyone, because we're a nation of animal lovers, so everyone will relate. It'll be fine.
You just like torturing me, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's either the research is
there. Okay, we shall proceed.
Yeah, we conduct against them a war of aggression, even less principled than the wars between men.
Well, that's got to be humans, isn't it?
Humans, yeah. Or
unless we go for between ourselves doesn't work, does it?
Ourselves.
It's got to be humans, doesn't it?
I think humans, yeah, because I think if we're going to be inclusive in that sense, ourselves would kind of imply that once upon a time there was a war with other animals, and that's never been the case. It's always been us. So.
Yeah.
Truly,
right. There's a lot of he's here.
Yeah. Truly, he who says he loves peace cannot love peace wholly if he turns upon his fellow creatures in an act of slaughter. Right. So truly, those who say they love peace.
Well, you could use the one, one who says one loves, but it's a bit royal family, but
yeah, because you can't put we there because you'd have to change the rest of the sentence. But
so what did you think of, Andy?
They first, truly they who say they love peace cannot love peace wholly if they turn upon their fellow creatures. It would be.
Oh no. People in the chat, what do you think? Do we go for they or do we go for one?
If you did we, you'd have to change quite a bit. Like truly, if we say we love peace, we cannot love peace wholly if we turn upon our fellow creatures. That's a lot of changes.
Yeah, you see, in terms of formal grammar, I would think one might work, but it's kind of almost like too pompous, really. How about whoever says they love peace?
They love peace cannot love peace wholly if they turn upon their fellow creatures. That would work.
That works, doesn't it? Whoever,
yeah.
Excellent.
Unless anyone suggested anything else.
I ought to be a professional. Let's be a professional editor. Truly, whoever says that, and then this is a they, isn't it?
Yeah, whoever says they love
peace. It have to be. I have to get rid of the S.
Yeah. They love peace, cannot love peace wholly if they turn off the S as well. They turn upon their
fellow creatures in an act of
an act of slaughter.
What was that? Was that it? Was that his? Was it his fellows?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
One of the experiences of one who humbly and deeply seeks the truth is that when higher feelings pervade his mind, he is unable to confine their application to the human race alone. We are unable.
One of the experiences of
one.
Oh, right.
It's got the one there, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Seeks the truth is that
feelings pervade their mind. They are unable.
Our minds?
We are unable.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that would work.
Because you've got a there here, so a they might be a problem, would it?
When higher feelings pervade our minds, we are unable to confine their application to the human. No, that would still work.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, okay. Holy moly, they're making us work, these people. And it's got to be an S as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll just put the S in bold.
Yeah, just the S in bold, yeah. Okay. We are unable to confine their application to the human race alone.
Yeah.
When Paul Bruton, writing of man, so that's got to be humanity, isn't it?
Yeah. Refers to the immeasurable infinite that pervades our measurable. The immeasurable infinite that pervades our measurable being.
Interesting that the infinite has got a capital I.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I wonder why.
I don't know. You see, maybe this is the kind of spiritual aspect of cross.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's been capitalized there. He goes on to say,
no, the thing is, we can't change that because that's a quote.
Yeah. The immeasurable infinite that pervades his measurable being. He goes on to say that it speaks to him.
Yeah, well, that's okay because that's him talking about Paul Bruton, isn't it?
Yeah, that whole thing is absolutely fine because it was mentioned in the quotes the other time. So yeah, there's nothing we can change there.
No.
In the sphere of positive evidence, there are those rare but revealing glimpses of the way in which man's evolution is aided as the result of a reformed relationship with nature. So with humanity's evolution or our evolution?
Oh, I quite like our there.
I like our, in the way which our evolution is aided as a result of a reformed relationship with nature.
Give me a minute to change the hour. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that works. That works just fine.
Looks as a joke too. Which hour?
That is aided as a result of a reformed relationship with nature.
I would think humans have here.
Somehow slipped. Yeah, I think humans have somehow slipped in their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, in this relationship. That's still okay.
Yeah, actually, because it's describing the that's yeah.
Yeah, it's a
humans have
yeah.
Was undesirable.
Okay, so humans have then, is it?
Yeah. And I suppose because it's humans rather than ourselves, that last one will have to be their selves rather than our or themselves.
So now slipped in this relationship with undesirable consequences for both nature. Ooh, yeah. Well, humanity fits there.
Humans have somehow slipped in this relationship with undesirable consequences. Yeah, I suppose it does. It does fine. Yeah, it does.
We is out of tune. Now then, hang on a minute.
He is out of
now
tune.
We've got an interesting thing because we've got her as in nature being called her here.
Yeah, which is pretty standard. It's normally Mother Nature. That she is normally she.
Yeah, in fact, in one of his other essays, he talks about her sanity or something, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that nature's normally referred to in the feminine, though. I suppose in that regard. So
I know, yeah. So what humans are humanity?
I mean, I suppose you've got to keep the her intact, but it's the first he. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, humans bear a relationship to her.
But what this bit up here, we've got to have humans are or we are or
we are out of tune with nature. We bear a relationship to her. Yeah, I'd say we.
But it's got to be we are, isn't it?
Yeah, we are, and then we bear rather than bears.
Yeah, we bear. Yeah, we bear. Boo boo.
Which might be likened to a geographical fault. I like that. That's a great way to describe it because I mean that's huge and massive and affects everyone, and that's exactly what it is.
It's the earthquake moment.
Especially in like 48 as well. An earthquake would have still been like we don't know anything about them. Can't even predict them. So really scary still. I mean, they're scary enough now, but if we could return to his rightful place, if we could return to our rightful place, if we could approach her as a friend and as a lover, because the her still got to say the same.
Yeah.
The resultant harmony would constitute a tremendous and ill count. Yeah, that would work.
So we're just going for we's here, are we?
I will go for we's, yeah. If we could return to our rightful place, if we could approach her as a friend and a lover, yeah, that works. Do you know, it's a good job that none of the people that like to make excuses against veganism ever read any of this stuff, because they'd probably read those 2 words, dissecting botanist, and say, see, even Leslie Cross said that plants have feelings. Look, it's there. So, but they don't read anything, so it's fine.
Well, dissecting doesn't imply pain anyway.
Well, apparently not, no.
Well, that's just the action, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, dissecting is usually a slice, which I wouldn't certainly want. I wouldn't want to be dissected.
Now then, here's one. Here's a good one for Colleen in the chat. What about overlord? Is that sexist? That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, I suppose the fact, yeah, because lord is the masculine term, right? It would be, what is it, dame for lady? I've never heard of an overdame, funny enough. I'm not sure in that regard.
Wait, lord and ladies, isn't it?
Is it lady, not dame?
Yeah, you don't hear of over lady either.
No, that's so true. That's I mean, when you actually think about that, that's so crappy. One's a lord and the other one's just their gender in a different way.
Okay, well, it's just he's got instead of a dissecting botanist and a murderous overlord.
Yeah.
The resultant harmony, blah blah blah. And so, is the word overlord okay? It's an interesting one, that one.
And if it's not, what would we substitute it for? Tyrant?
Yeah.
Or oppressor?
Just put humanity back in there again. I like oppressor. That's good, isn't it? Ronnie would like that.
Yeah. I mean, you don't very often hear the word overlord anymore, do you? Unless it's like a film.
Oh yeah, but what are you saying, that if
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think out whether they'd know what that meant, as opposed to like someone from the Lord of the Rings, so to speak. You don't hear it referred to as a normal person very often, do you? You don't hear an overlord. They're a tyrant normally. That's the modern.
You shall not pass. Well, Clean says they are both good, but I don't know what that means. Oppressor or tyrant,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. Okay. So which one do we go for? Oppressor?
I would go for oppressor.
It begins with O too.
Yeah. So it's
So we changed.
It's nearly. I mean, it was nearly oppressor before. Just change some of the letters afterwards. I mean, if we wanted to, we could just say, "Wow, I think that what Leslie Cross meant to write was." We just go down the religious route. I think that is what he meant to say. But no, I think oppressor. That's stronger now, because I honestly don't think, unless you take it out sort of like a video game or a film or something like that, most people use that overlord. I don't think I've ever used the word overlord in a sentence ever.
Have you not?
No. Whereas,
you should get
I'm trying to think, like even trying to make a point, I don't think I'd use the word overlord. I'd still probably go for tyrant if I had to think on the spot. Say, yeah. So I think that's a good change.
Oh, hang on a minute now. I think we've got Joanna likes oppressor, and I think Colleen has gone for tyrant.
Either work.
How about murderous tyrannical oppressor?
Oh, tyrannical oppressor. That would oppressing tyrant, murderous oppressing tyrant.
Well, I don't know how to. Yeah.
I don't mind which one of those two go in. They're both good.
We'll have to set up a game of paper, rock, scissors between to sort that one out.
Well, if this was some other vegan stream, they'd probably say whoever super chats the most will pick that one.
Yeah.
Right. We'll stick with oppressor and we'll see.
We missed the trick there, didn't we?
Yeah. You have to vote.
If
you have to pay.
If you really want your word in there,
yeah, if you really want this word, and if it matters to you that much, you'll pay. If you want us to take, care and attention of what you're saying, you just have to send it with some money. I don't know. One of those rare occasions when this has taken place, this described by Adams Beck in his book, The House of Fulfillment. By an act of unpremeditated love, the author found himself in momentary friendship with the wild creatures in a Himalayan forest. He never had, he says, a pleasure so pure and selfless as that perfect trust of a wild thing. Can we change that?
No, it's a quote.
Oh yeah, it's a quote. Yeah. What about creatures? Can we not start addressing this word creatures, which reaffirms the idea that animals were created by a creator, which is why it's creatures.
What do you want then?
I don't know if we've got the justification to change it because it's written in every single essay. It's a sign of the times, but I can't stand the word creatures. Yeah. Because it literally means created by a divine creator.
Well, don't forget, one justification for changing anything is if it's going to rankle with the new audience. That's the thing you got to bear in mind.
I still understand what the word means, but personally, I don't think it helps us. But that is just my personal opinion. I'm probably a bit biased in that sense.
You don't think
one of those words I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think it'll stop many people dead, as it were, that word?
No, not like some of the other things. No, I mean, potentially, sadly, I think Overlord would seem a bit more like than creatures. Creatures are still
okay. Let's leave it then.
Yeah. With the wild creatures in the Himalayan forest, he never had. He say, no, I did that bit. Where do we get to?
It was a high point.
It was a high point in his evolution, and while it lasted, it overwhelmed him with an intensity of feeling whose effect never left him. Does it seem much? He asks.
But that's okay, isn't it? Because he's talking about
he's still part of the thing. Yeah. To spring from a small cause. How can I tell? I knew in that moment that I would break truce no more. Those wild, bright eyes look up into mine, and my shooting days were done. It's funny though that I remember the first time I read that quote, and you think I've had conversations with people where they've more or less repeated that sentence. That I looked into their eyes, and that was it for me. And you even see sometimes it's kind of encouraged for people to make the connection, go to a vigil, say, and look at the trucks, like look into their eyes. And it's funny how that kind of breaks that illusion sometimes. But there's nothing there to change.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we both agree with that, but we feel reluctant to.
Yeah, I think the problem, and there's quite a lot of changes. I think it's mentioned in every single essay. I don't think we changed it in the Surge either. We left it as it was. So
I think the phrase "break truce" is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well. I don't know when this quote's actually from. I mean, obviously Cross is quoting it, so it's before him writing this. So I don't actually know how old that is, but it'd be interesting to see what the actual context of that is.
So the last word has got to be humanity, is it?
Yes.
I think that's it done, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the last bit of the. I know this one. I was going to say I knew this one was quite a bit shorter than the Surge, and I knew that now that we'd already established some of these words,
still takes us more than an hour, though.
Yeah, well, I suppose to be fair, we've done a lot more chit chat this time than the last couple. I mean, with the Surge, we never even really deviated, and it still took about 3 hours.
There was a lot more suggestions from the chat last time, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I did think though that the Surge would be the one that most people were interested in, because that's normally when you talk about the essays, that's the only one that anyone knows. If they don't know much about them, that's the only one they've ever heard of.
The Surge.
And that's still I'm still talking about a tiny minority of people here. But usually if you say Leslie Cross's essays, they go, "Oh yeah, the Surge of Freedom," and you go, "Yeah, and the others," and they're like, "The others? Yeah, there's more than one."
I'd have thought it would be the defining one, but
no, I've quite a few people know of the Surge, but they only normally know of that little section. They don't know of the first paragraph always. They know the indelible bit. That's the bit that they normally know. That paragraph, yeah.
Oh, come on, then. Hey, what's up? Yeah, having a bad time. What's the matter? Come on. on in. There you go.
I will put this as always as well. I'll grab the link for this and I'll put it in the chat. Okay, so
right. So what are we saying, that we're done?
Yeah, well, we finished it. We finished that one. Yeah, so it's potentially just the case of if we're going to do any others and which one next, or whether we're just going to do them in order now.
Yeah. So what's this you just put in there for
That's
people?
the link to the document that we've just amended.
Oh, okay.
And then I will obviously narrate it again like I did last time afterwards.
Right. Very good. Okay. Well, excellent. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. And we maybe we can, the next one shouldn't be cross, possibly, just to break it up a little bit, maybe, Andy, but I mean, obviously we'll
I mean, I enjoy this, so I'm more than happy to kind of do anything. Yeah, I just basically we've got to find something that's either small enough, or we can break it into sections that are small enough that it's not going to take
the Lord's Prayer
a whole day to sit here. That's the only potential snag. The longer the document, the more time it takes to to go through it.
That's true.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm more than happy to do anything, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we did discuss potentially whether go through the 10 reasons to support animal rights by Reagan. That's not too long, but there's nothing to change, really. It's not like you'd want to change. You want to modernize. It's just, it's just one of those essays that you could go through.
What's the plan? Are you going to get rid of the old-fashioned ones?
I'm not going to get rid of them. I will leave them in the narrated essays thing, but I will make each of these new ones. I'll do them as a video with like the captions that go along, so they're a lot more,
user friendly. Okay.
Yeah. They're modernized videos to match the modernized text, so to speak. Whereas I will just leave the old ones as they were with the text on the screen, because obviously it's the same text.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one thing I'll do. If anyone is interested going for, I mean, we've only done the surge so far, and obviously I've made that with like the beach footage or whatever. So yeah, all of the ones that we modernize, I will do with a video, and I'll put the words up in a different way, almost like a bit like a karaoke sort of captions effect, as opposed to just the essays in the background. Yeah, so that's how you'll know the difference.
Can you hear Ruja purring?
I can. Yeah, I was going to say the purr sounds bug standard, so that doesn't seem to have been affected by.
It's actually louder now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I can definitely hear her.
Yeah. You're a bit happy now, aren't you? Right then. Okay, people. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we shall be back the same time and the same channel sometime. So, goodbye.
Bye.